I heard Mr. Papa's.
Mr. Papa. No, Mr. John. Dude.
I heard he made a racist comment the other
He made a
day.
racist comment.
Yeah.
What was his comment?
I'm not sure what it was, but it sounded pretty bad based off of how people reacted.
So people reacted, so it sounded really bad. Did you hear anything about this, bro?
It's possible. I just don't remember what he said, but I just remember people reacting about it.
He starts a pizza company. His dad's got a tavern in Indiana. And he puts a brick oven, a pizza oven in the tavern. He starts making pizzas, and he starts killing it, like I would if I sold my peanut soup on the open market. But he starts killing it. And in a matter of not too long, because look, he's not that old actually, he builds this company up to 5,000 franchises, mostly franchises. And you know what a franchise is? When you buy into it, you buy the rights to use Papa John's, all their ingredients and their recipes and all their advertising and everything, and then you basically like cookie cut a store somewhere else, and then you own that store and you pay royalties back to the main office. So he builds it up to $1.7 billion in annual revenue. Come along, we get these protests in the NFL. Now, is it coming back to you now? A little bit? Coming back to you, bro?
No.
So protests,
A little bit.
so the players start protesting because of police violence. And the players decide, this guy in particular right here, so if you're not an American, so what happened where there was some really, for those who aren't U.S. citizens, 4 years ago, there were some really high-profile police violence cases where police killed innocent people who clearly were innocent. I mean, and they blew up into the media in really big ways, and people started taking to the streets, in particular, black people. Now, mind you, white people, a majority of people that police kill are white. But white people have this idea, they're more likely to think that, hey, the system will treat us fairly. We're going to leave it to the system will take care of it, the police will be investigated, and they definitely innocently killed my child or my cousin or my brother or whoever. But I'm going to leave it up to the system because that's what it's called, the justice system, because there's justice. What do black people say about justice? Exactly that. The justice is for white people. Black and brown people don't get justice. So, when the police, it just happened to happen, is in a moment of just a number of things came together, and black people started going out into the streets and protesting. Now, mind you, black people are operating on behalf of everybody. Usually when black people protest, by the way, white people, I'm speaking now, hang on, I'm speaking to white people and I'm going to speak directly onto the stream. Usually when black people protest, when it's something that finally gets black people out into the street, it's usually something that first affects or probably mostly affects even white people. But the problem is, also affects white people, oftentimes. But the problem is, white people don't ever protest. We do protest, like, when our team wins the World Series or something, but we don't protest violence and power. And so black people become the people who are really doing the things on behalf of everybody. So when these players are protesting police violence, they're protesting police violence to everybody. Most police violence is actually, in terms of sheer numbers, directed toward people who look like me, not toward people who look like you. Okay, you got that, right? You see that way, people? So anyway, this guy, Papa John, was the pizza company for the NFL. Papa John, at some point, thinks that all the pizza profits start to dip. He comes out with a statement and says, listen, these NFL protests are a problem. The protests are a problem because people were boycotting NFL games. People were boycotting anything that had anything to do with the NFL, including Papa John's Pizza. They were going across the street to Domino's because the NFL or that Papa John's associated with the NFL, and people were really unhappy. Half the people were unhappy that some people were protesting and taking a knee and degrading the flag, and the other half of the people were protesting the fact that people were protesting that they were taking a knee. They're like, why wouldn't we protest police violence? Come on. So you got half the people in this way, and the other half of the people the other way, and the NFL viewership, people going to games, everything starts to dip, including pizza profits from the NFL, okay? So this guy opens his mouth and says, the NFL's really got to get this protest thing in order, and it's got to take care of things so we can move on, because our profit margin is really hurting. What do you think about that? Is that sensitive? The NFL, people are dying. You ready? Dude, people who look like you, more so than me, both of us, but the perception is people who look like you are being killed by the police. And this white dude comes along and is like, hey man, I get the protesting thing, but y'all need to get this thing together and get these players to stop protesting because my pizza profits are actually getting hurt. What do you think about that?
It's some pizza. What?
Pizza, dude. Pizza profit.
It's pizza profit.
All right, dude. What do you think, bro?
I mean, the pizza profit has nothing to do with protest. I think protesting is everyone's right to do, and they're protesting for the right thing. I mean, if they believe it's right, then they have the right to do it.
Okay.
That's why we have First Amendment.
Okay, got you. All right. So he's a pizza guy, but his job is to make pizzas, and his franchisees are starting to lose money, and this guy opens his mouth and says, can you all get your act together because I'm I got a problem here. I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to make money. We're trying to make money, and we're getting hurt, right? Okay, then they move him away from all the advertising. Okay? So you're like, dude, now Papa John's stock starts to plummet. And they're like, we got to pull you out from advertising. We're not going to put we're not going to put your face on pizza boxes anymore. We're going to remove all your images and all of our television advertising and so on. We just got to pull you away because you are really toxic right now because people hate you because you put pizza over the lives of people. About 9 months later, I see this headline. So he dropped the M-bomb on a conference call. Papa John, this guy right here. That guy, this guy who built the empire, $1.7 billion, dropped the M-bomb on a conference call. They forced him to resign. You can't drop the M-bomb on a conference call, man. Come on, dude. What do you mean? Think about, he's on a conference call with people on his team and associates, and he drops the M-bomb. Think about what he said. All you got is that. What do you say, bro? What do you think he said? Tell me how he probably used the M-bomb in the conference call.
Maybe he used it in a very offensive way, or maybe in a very aggressive way. Which
Offensive or
which probably
aggressive.
made people feel like, oh my God,
All right.
let's avoid this person.
Dude. Okay, what do you think, bro?
I mean, it's possible that he used it in a quote, saying what someone else said.
It's possible he used it in a quote saying what someone else said?
Yeah.
So your mind goes to that? When you read that, he's forced to resign because he used it in a quote?
I mean, if he's resigning, then
Where's your mind go that you think what he probably said?
he probably used it for something offensive. But if we're going to keep an open mind and look at all the possible opportunities.
Oh, dude, this is what I love. A human being with an open mind. All right, so let's walk through. So so the idea is Forbes. This is Forbes. They come out and they say, "Okay, we're going to run this story about you using the M-bomb." And here's the story. So he's in a conference call with this PR company, because clearly the guy botched the NFL thing. They can't even use his face on their advertising. They're like, "Dude, you are toxic to the company. People aren't buying our pizzas because they think you're a racist, you're a jerk because of what you said about the NFL, just for saying that." And so now we're going to have a conversation with this PR team who's going to teach us we're going to talk to you about how you need to be so you don't seem like such a jerk. All right? So it's diversity training for the media. So then one thing they ask him is, "Are you racist?" He's like, "No, I'm not racist." And they say, "Well, why would you say what you said about the NFL if you weren't racist?" And he says, How is that racist? I make pizzas. I have franchisees. My franchisees all have families. This isn't about me. This is about them. Every one of my 5,000 stores is owned by somebody. Everyone who works in those stores has families. They rely on pizza. They rely on customers coming into the store and buying pizzas so that they can feed their families and do what they do. Obviously, I'm also really wealthy, but there are all these other things in play here. How is that racist? I make pizzas. Like, address this NFL disaster and get on with it so my chain isn't associated in such a negative way. They say, well, okay, I think we need to hire Kanye West as our spokesperson. And he says, Kanye West drops the N-bomb left and right in his song lyrics. We're a family organization. We are not hiring someone who's dropping the N-bomb in his song lyrics and day-to-day and whatever. Like, we don't know. No, he is not going to be our spokesperson. Kanye West. We're a family company. So they pressure him to use Kanye West. Like, no, we need to use Kanye West and da-da-da. And he's like, no. And then here's what happens. So they're pressuring him about being racist. He's like, look, what have I done that really is taking the whole company down? All I did was make the comment about the NFL. Colonel Sanders, the chicken, Colonel Sanders? Colonel Sanders regularly said, insert N-bomb. Ready? Gentlemen. Colonel Sanders regularly called black people N-bomb. I can't say it. You see, if I say it, even though I'm quoting him, I can't even say it. So he makes the horrible mistake in his conference call to say, hey, look, what have I done that's so terrible? I mean, I get it. Like, there are racists out there everywhere. Colonel Sanders regularly called black people. It's like, all I did was talk about the NFL. Ready? So what happens? Well, the laundry service, they didn't hire this company, the PR company. They didn't hire them. They paid them off. They didn't hire them. The PR company goes to the media and says, hey, John Schnatter, Papa John, was in a conference call with us, and he used the N-bomb. Dude. So he gets pushed out of the company, forced to resign, because he did what I almost did right here in this situation, because I could have dropped the N-bomb right here.
I mean, some people take that as a offense, and it makes sense to force someone to resign for that reason, because there are really people out there who might say, look, I'm sick of that word. I don't want to hear it from anyone, especially someone who's rich enough and we're poor. That's not fair for us. That's why.
So just so you know, conservatives who are watching the stream right now, or any conservatives, would label you a snowflake. Just to know that. I'm not saying you are or you're not, but that would be a snowflake response. That, wait, hang on a second. So Kanye West can drop the N-bomb, and that's like okay, and he can do it
okay
left, right, and center, but this guy, in the context of that, he can't say it.
I mean, nobody should say it, full stop.
In this situation, it's almost like a think before you speak. The fact that he just said it right away sort of means like he didn't feel uncomfortable saying it. So it's like, if he said it like that here, he's probably said it before. In what context did he say it before?
I don't drop the N-bomb, man. Last time I dropped the N-bomb, I was probably 12 years old or something. I don't do it. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm not a person, well, Kanye West can say it so other people can say it. What the fuck? I don't care. Like, I'm not about that. But I'm like, dudes, look, if we get to a society, this is the society we have created, that there is a word, that when someone's quoting somebody else using the word, and that's enough for that person to get fired from quoting somebody else using the word. It's like, what kind of world have we come to that there's something that's like off limits? Like, for example, I don't know, you can never ever wear brown shoes under any circumstance. Just don't wear brown shoes because they signify something. I have no idea. I got it. I do know. Where do you stop?
Exactly.
Where do you stop? Oh, it's the N-bomb. Oh, when do we decide, it's no, you can't say the word. You can't even say N-bomb. Oh, even to think, no, you can't do that. We're going to put fucking monitors on you. If you even think the word, then the monitor's going to go off and we're going to arrest you or whatever we're going to do. How far do we go? And then it becomes N-bomb, and I just said it. How many times did I say N-bomb in this class already? And so 3 years from now, I get fired. You read Penn State professor Sam Richards fired for saying N-bomb 12 times in one single class. And we don't use N-bomb anymore. It's like, oh my God.
It's just always a good precaution to let them know your intentions of what you're about to say before you say it. Like in the situation, if he had said, I'm just using this as a quote, and then said that Colonel Sanders says this all the time, then that would have been okay, because he would have covered it before. Showing that he was thinking ahead of time to make sure he wasn't stepping on any toes.
All right, so is that true for everybody? Is it true for you also? Do you ever drop the N-bomb?
I mean, once or twice.
All right, hang on. So is that true for you? So like when I'm just asking, because I know that it's different, because, I get the story that, but you, dude, but there are a lot of you're Ghanaian, right?
Yeah.
Born there or born here?
Born here.
Born here.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of African Americans who would say, yeah, but listen, man, but your family didn't actually go through slavery because your family came from Ghana. And so you don't even have the right to drop the N-bomb. So be careful. When you're around black people and they're African Americans, you may want to warn them ahead of time that you're about to drop it because you want to prepare them because they might be snowflakes too.
That's fair.
I think I'm Andy, by the way. I think a lot of things are being ignored in the situation. So this is a situation where extremes are being highlighted. So I think the media and the PR company were definitely wrong in, I think, putting things out of context. But I also think that John was also in the wrong for ignoring a lot of context. I get not wanting to hurt your business, especially when you're being tied to such a political movement. But I guess coming out, speaking before you think, and then talking about your pizza sales, which, is a rational thought as a business owner.
Yeah.
But in such a social climate, it's going to come across the wrong way.
Dude.
So when he said that in the conference call, despite whether or not he said it in the past or not, what context he used it, it's still seen as ignorant. People are looking at racist and not racist, but nobody's talking about the fact of ignorance. Ignorance exists in a lot of people. Ignorance can lead to racism, but it doesn't mean you are racist. I'm not arguing whether or not John is racist, but he was certainly ignorant. I don't think anybody was giving either side the benefit of the doubt in that aspect.
Okay, listen, man. But even for you to say, I don't know if he is racist, but he was ignorant, right? Yeah. Even ignorant is one of those words. In the letter of in the definition in a dictionary, it means, ignoring, unaware of, or ignoring, or whatever, not taking account of certain information. But in our culture, ignorant means, right, you're stupid and you're bad. And in this particular case, it means you're racist, right? Yeah. So even to say that, it's like, clearly, I would never, if I was him, I could make a critique of the NFL pretty easily, and I would never say it in the way that dude said it. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Mr. White Guy, come on, get a feel for the issues here. Come on, where you at? We're in 2020 or whatever. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I get that. I think you're talking about the social perception of what the, definitions to us about ignorance is. But ignorance is general, lack of knowledge on a subject. I don't think that's stupidity. I think acceptance of ignorance is stupidity.
Yeah. Okay,
I don't think
listen, man. Okay,
you're being
that's
stupid
fair.
at all for being uneducated on a certain subject.
Dude, or being aware. I would say less uneducated. I would just say being aware.
Yeah.
Just like most of us in here. Let me just point this out, bro. So the two of you are sitting here, so we have the perspective. I would say, those of you who are shaking your heads and thinking oh yeah, this guy, screw him, he should lose his pizza empire. Listen, man, we could sit down and talk. I could pick out some things that you think that are just as ignorant and problematic as anything that this guy said, but you just don't. And then this guy does, and then we point our fingers, and we're like, oh, yeah, he's the problem, and like, not us. And I'm not defending this guy. I don't give a damn about, I don't like pizza even. Like, I don't like his pizza. I don't care. Actually, we had some a couple weeks ago. It was pretty good. First time in my life I think I ever had Papa John's. It was all right. But like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But where are we going? The idea is nobody knows what the story is. We just know, okay, he's racist. And most people are going to say what you said. Oh, he must have used it in some aggressive way. And if he used it in this way, he must use it normally in the rest of his life and make aspersions. I'm like, oh my God, really? We don't know. We don't know anything.